now think of that as a co-design process. It's more than just mending. It's something that you add, and that makes everything that you address, that you intervene with, a more personal and important garment in your life. It becomes part of you.
So it's totally a work in progress.
Totally a work in progress. And I love clothes. That's what got me here in the first place. I've always loved clothes, but I really prefer old clothes, and I prefer something with a depth to it that just had, an intervention in someone else's life, perhaps before mine, and the embodiment of the garment, the way that it has traces of wear and of memory even, that moves me a lot, and I find that most interesting and exciting in a garment, when it's got some life and some age to it.
What's your reflection on sort of fast fashion, ultra fast fashion then?
Oh, I'm very, very, very worried about Shein and the way things are going. We thought we were getting somewhere, but clearly not. But, well, it's a disaster. We have to... It cannot function in any way. There's no way to make fast fashion, that kind of fashion, mass brands, sustainable. There is no way. It is not mathematically possible. So personally, I feel absolutely get rid of it. I know that's a very complicated and sounds very naive statement, but there are ways. It's just a multi-part proposition, and it is, it's financially motivated, purely about money. It's not, they're not making clothes, they're making money, and at the expense of millions of people who are, I almost use the word enslaved, but it's not quite that bad, and that is not fair to people who actually have been or are enslaved. So it's a terrible business. I mean, I think, are you anyone in your orbit who's interested enough to see this already knows how it is. It's just, what are we going to do about it?
And how are you contributing, like making fun alternatives?
Well, exactly what you just said. I think I mentioned this earlier. I mean, my ideas are all about making something over here that people want to go to, rather than whipping them and telling them what not to do. Plenty of people doing that, and it's very obvious we need them to, and it's obvious why people do that, and I do it myself. But rather than that, I don't think people respond well to being told what to do, but I think they respond well to being shown something they want to do. And that is my plan, is to get as many things as I can and get as far as I can, as loud as I can, to and collaborate with everyone who wants to, in order to make an alternative viable and increasingly important and bigger. Let's grow something over here that is capable of undermining that they're doing. And I'm always, it's about the workers, the people producing those clothes. It's a shocking situation. We've got, researched this stuff, and it's not got any better. It's just got further. So we outsource the shameful bad sweatshops. It's unforgivable. And we also need to honour the people making those clothes. So we should always mend what we call trashy clothes and what we think is disposable. Keep it going. Don't make it have built-in obsolescence.
So tell us some more about those fun things and the alternatives that you're leading towards.
Well, it's very much, obviously I'm very involved in the visible mending movement, can you call it that? And I've been doing that for a long, long time. I'm sort of a mother hen on Instagram in some ways, partly because of Mend March, which is a big party. But anyway, mending has become trendy, that kind of look, and it's a little worrying because we need it to continue past the trend moment. And so I think I mentioned already, co-design is the word I now apply, and the concept around intervening in your own closet. So, what am I personally doing? I'm trying to join up with other people, because obviously I can't do much on my own. I'm not very good at being, shouting loud. I do what I can, but it's not my skill set. So I'm looking to always collaborate and join up in other movements and become, loud, create bigger things by collaboration. And the other thing, of course, I'm doing is academic underpinning. So I'm doing a PhD in mending, writing the history of mending, and through this, I mean, it's a very strange and closeted community, not closeted in that way, it's a separate, but I want to join those dots as well and bring the academic power into this activism world that is also I'm somewhat involved with. And I teach classes in, practical classes and at universities in the background to all of this.
And do you think drawing on the emotional and social well-being aspects of getting more involved with your clothes is a useful avenue?
Absolutely. I think that's everyone, more and more people understand that. And that's what people, you ask me what drew me to this, and I say, I don't know, I just love clothes. And I just said that people who love clothes are, the captive audience. They love the clothes, and they don't necessarily, the mass of people who are enriching the likes of whoever owns Shein, I don't even know the name of those people, but they're now richer than H&M and Ortega of Zara put together. It's an enormous. They don't necessarily know what else is out there. Those, however you're acquiring them, you want them, love them, have a connection with them. Maybe it's just to show on your TikTok, but it's still something that you're invested in. So you are, whatever the emotion is, it's close. It's a personal thing. So clothes need to remain that way. Let's make the personal connection even more strong rather than have clothes be a consumable. We're not going to eat it, devour it, chuck it out, or excrete it, even though that is what we're doing. Let's make those important memories that attach themselves to clothes more stronger and more vivid for people.
And personally yourself, do you find being involved with your wardrobe is good for your mental health?
Yes, very good. I'd call it menditation. That's when that's literally mend. And the rhythm of that is, to me, and many others, I think I've spread this as a hashtag around quite far by now. It's menditating is real. So I think when you sew, it's a stitch based meditation with a rhythm. There's that, but also storage solutions, and that's the thing. And Kondo, not a big fan because she doesn't have much to say about what you do when you something does not spark joy anymore. Do you just trash it? Anyway, it's a shame. Yes, I think that organizing is very therapeutic as well, and I think to keep your clothes pets in nice order is part of it for me. And that I get upset when I'm in a mess. I don't like it. It makes my mental health plummets. And then I clear a space. That is what Marie Kondo's got extremely famous doing. It's true. It makes for a feeling of joy to have order. And there's nothing like your wardrobe to be in a mess that you can easily, intervene in and make some order.
Can you describe how you have arranged your wardrobe? Is it colours?
Oh,
shapes?
Actually, yes. That's one. I do like a colour, a nice palette, and it, merges rainbow-like for the hanging garments. And then, I just have my personal ways of organising that may not work for others. Though it is actually in my book, which I should probably mention, called Mend, a Refashioning Manual and Manifesto. It's over there. I've got a whole how to organise your wardrobe section, which is concise and easy to follow. So I think it can be terribly overwhelmingly complicated when you go to professionals who do this. But I think you can really keep it simple. So like with like is my overall rule. Let's just leave it at that for now. And I also rotate seasonally so that what I want to wear is right there.
Do you think being more involved with your wardrobe is a part of a solution to the textile waste excess?
Absolutely, yes. Being more involved is, having a sense of responsibility as well as ownership. And now with the idea of things being disposable, that's lost, and that's what the fashion industry relies on, that we always want churn and new in and old out, and that is not possible. I was going to say sustainable, but that's such an overused word, and it's just something it's not interesting, it's not personal. We need to have a connection that we are losing, so we need to just get that back. It's always been there until very recently. In fact, this millennium is when the metastasization of the industry happened, only since really late last century.
I'll let you take a sip of tea there while I ask you another question.
Yeah,
just about the skills and the entry level. Like, what are the obstacles to getting back, and what do you think all that buying and tossing's about?
Yeah, it's a really good question. The obstacles, first of all, are understanding what you're doing and just seeing it. And I think that's really the biggest obstacle, because if we're talking, as I was saying before, the bulk of people, that the millions who are not listening to this because they don't know about it, who aren't following any other way because they don't know about it, because what they see is their TikTok feed. There are some people on TikTok doing opposite things, doing mending and doing some, I don't look at it, but I hear about it. And so that is probably where, because we're talking about the young people, it's the next generation, they're the ones who are buying the bulk of the stuff that is supposed to be trash, that is costing, they've got entry-level garments at $3 on the front of the website, that it's so tempting. It's the temptingness of cheapness. We have to learn our way out of that and understand that being investing in something makes you more invested in it, and that it's going to be something that brings you more pleasure. So that sort of entry level is getting that message through, but by providing the proof rather than describing it. That is the first thing. So when you're just a buyer and you don't even think about picking up a needle, because let's face it, people don't, who are under a certain age especially, then start with the consuming part, because consuming is a very strange word for clothes. We do not devour them, we do not ingest them, but we do. They are. There's a good way to describe the churn. So let's get that addressed. That's the entry level to me, is that before you, unless you can reach them to pick up a needle, because once anyone's picked up a needle and done a little mend, they are hooked. I swear, it's just addictive, because you feel so calm and nice, and you feel like you're so proud of what you've done. And everyone has a garment that's old that they don't want to lose. Sorry, the cat's throwing up over there.
And so it is the feelings around clothes, isn't it? The feelings matter.
Yes, the feelings are the root to the new way of doing this, or the better way of doing this, as well as the way that we got into this trouble, because that desire for more and cheaper, it's insidious and it's extremely damaging, and we got there through the same desire that we need to get out.
Anything else you want to add to this discussion, Kate?
So Refashioning Manual and Manifesto, it's Penguin Books, and if your main audience is Australia, it's not published there separately, it's US Penguin, but you can get it the usual ways. And it's just going into a second printing soon, which is nice.
It's a fabulous book. Show us some of the pages, Kate.
Well, you know what is different about this one? There's a load of books about mending now, but this, I've done the first and only mending history. And this is really basic. It's fun. I've written it in a fun way, but it's genuinely properly researched. This is actually the basis of my PhD research. It's not separate, it's part of it. So people are really liking that, and I don't think they necessarily know it's there, because you think it just looks like all the other mending books, but it's not.
And that's all about connection to history, isn't it? As well as connection to clothes currently.
Clothes is history, and that's something that dress scholars have a great deal of trouble trying to make other scholars understand sometimes. So there's also who, they're all, who, which, where, what, there's the chapters, but I've got some other menders in here that I feel are really interesting and doing important and interesting work. We're all in the same world. We need to do this together, and I feel that mending is quite interactive. And
so that's about connection, isn't it? Social connection.
Social connection. I mean, there's ancients sitting around in a circle, chatting circle. This is an aspect of what I'm this circle is something very profound and ancient. And the movement of the circular movement of the needle and its circles that we always call it a sewing circle, don't we? Even if you're not really in a circle.
And young people particularly, how can we make that happen for them?
Yeah, I mean, we just need to get them to pick up the needle and get. I mean, that when I teach a lot, and I teach different kinds of people, and I always foreground not the skill, but I just make it sound fun. Is that it goes with everything I've been saying. That's what it's, make it sound fun.
It takes time though, doesn't it?
It does.
And
it does take time. You know this. You teach people. You can teach someone to sew basically in a running stitch in an hour. It's all they even need. Then they can take it from there. So just let them get over the initial fear of not having a clue. It's just get over that first hurdle. Just make it be possible to penetrate that garment, because it feels like it's a car. You need to send it somewhere to get seen to. But no, we can do it ourselves, and it's so much better.
And I think we're all on our own journey with it too, aren't we?
Definitely.
It's just starting.
Yeah. And we're enjoying, we're enjoying the journey. The journey is an enormously fulfilling process. It's processual, and it's all something that everyone deserves to have themselves, but they don't know it's there.